Hello, I'm Philip Stoughton for ID People. I'm here at ID World in Abu Dhabi, and I'm joined by Khaled Alamri from EBTCO. Khaled, thanks for joining me again. Always good to see you. You gave a presentation. Can you just tell me a little bit about that to start with?
Well, the presentation this year was about the iris technology. We see lots of iris scanners in the market, but there are certain limitations and certain constraints on the subject being, capturing his iris image in a certain way and having that image, with a certain quality to be fed to the iris engine for verification and identification. Our topic this year was iris while in motion, which means to have an iris scanner with specific components that will enhance the capturing process of the subject. The current technology in the market, and we've tested one just weeks ago, and it took our customer 10 minutes to reject the product, was to have that sensor in front of you and just move it back and forth until it, really capture your iris in a proper format. And that was not acceptable for us, and it's not acceptable for the customer, especially on the type of application that this customer in particular had in mind. For the government on the borders, they are forced to use that because this is the technology. Exactly. And iris is actually one of the a very secure form of biometrics in today's world. So it is a must, I would say, at the borders. Although the borders themselves, the borders officials, are still evaluating several other products to enhance the current infrastructure that they have at. And so the technology is evolving, just like the fingerprint. We saw Touchless fingerprint. We saw Morpho coming up with the wave type of technology where you just wave your hand and then it will capture the fingerprint. There's another company that has a prototype product now which will capture your fingerprint at a 2-meter distance.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's still not in production, So the iris on the move technology actually is, I think it is valid and it has a very good future, promising future, because again, there are certain constraints on the subject where he has to stand at a very short distance, nearly very close to the iris scanner or the camera, and as well to stand in an area where the iris volume, or the volume area, which is where the iris can be taken, and the image can be cropped for that application. So there are certain limitations with today's technology, and iris in the move would solve that by capturing the iris images while the subject is moving toward the camera and looking at the camera and having an open eye at that as well. But the thing is, when you have a choke point, this is very handy. And to actually increase the speed of processing those subjects at a choke point is more important than processing the enrollment. So the enrollment will happen only one time. So actually, that's fine to have a very high quality image captured in a specific way at good acquisition time. But when you talk about borders or deportation as well, you need something real fast to process a number of people. There are several companies in the region now, and one of them is doing actually 50 person per minute.
Okay.
That's impressive.
That's very impressive.
They have also 12 person per minute system, and they have different other products as well.
Different systems for different applications,
exactly.
I guess.
But the technology is really promising, and it really adds up to the need for
Yes.
for such.
It's
Biometrics started in the 1800s, and as I said in the presentation, and ever since it's evolving, but it was evolving on a very slow pace, maybe because consumers and companies were not actually involved at that time with biometrics. But for the last 10 years, it's been very quick because we see it in homes, we see it in offices, and then the iris technology now is coming to the USB devices, where you have your USB secured with your iris data. And that's really impressive again, because if you have really a good technology where you can just look at the USB and just
and unlock it.
Exactly, and that would solve the problem with the current what do they call it, is swipe through. I think the small fingerprint sensor, which you keep doing this 3, 4, 5 times.
A good secure system, that would be ideal for our government who are always losing data.
Exactly.
So it sounds like you're taking real applications and coming up with solutions. And it also feels like just of late, the last year or two, the industry as technologists have really started to listen to the user, really started to consider at last.
That's very true, and this is a very true statement because there are many, candidates who are evaluating and implementing and buying these products, which really, creates a larger demand for the companies to invest in research and development and enhance the product to be competitive in the product, because fingerprint products in the market now, there are many products. So when it comes to iris, there are a certain number of products in the market, but almost they are the same. This company, which scored very high in IST competition in one of the past years, they have their system, but again, it was not acceptable because you have to move that back and forth. So they developed a cone-shaped type of guide, so that it would guide the user or the subject on how to capture that image. But still, it is very close, and you have to again adjust and move. But the iris and the move now, where you just walk and have your iris image captured and then processed on the fly without any intervention, plus the ability to integrate with other back-end systems. And you don't have to use the algorithm developed by the same manufacturer of these devices.
It's an open system.
Exactly.
It's an open system. It's really refreshing to see it that way round, and it absolutely needs to be that way round, because if it isn't convenient to the customers, they won't use it. If the line for iris scanning at passport control isn't the faster line, nobody wants to take part. So to get that critical mass, it has to be viewed, and it's always refreshing when we talk, because all of the technology that you talk about always has an application, always has a solution. So I think that's really key. Khaled, thanks very much for presenting it this week, and thank you for coming to talk to me, and I hope we can talk again soon.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
It's
been a pleasure.
Thanks.